Now, when we're talking about the governor and kind of his, warning to lawmakers about using the rainy day fund, last week we had Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst on the show, and he said that he feels like maybe the governor has greater pressure or influence on House members' decisions when it comes to the rainy day fund. Is that so?
Oh, I think that some of the House members, I know I did not want to put House members uh, to make that tough decision to use the rainy day fund without the governor saying it was okay. And that's why I worked real hard over a weekend to get some type of agreement with the governor on using the rainy day fund to pay our current bills. I'm just going to say that I think it's the philosophy of the large majority of the House to not use any of the additional rainy day fund for the next biennium, to balance the budget for the next biennium. Josh, we're going to be coming in probably the next regular session with probably a large supplemental requirement for our budget. Medicaid caseload, federal government requirements. We need to keep the large bulk of our rainy day fund to take care of those needs, and so we're going to probably have a need to pay our current bills the next biennium.
If for some reason we did use the rainy day fund for the upcoming budget, where could you see House members most likely, able to think we can maybe pass this here?
I cannot, even in my wildest dream or nightmare, see how the House will ever vote to use additional money of the rainy day fund. And I will not carry any legislation to do that. And I hear that too. We need to use the rainy day fund. I use the rainy day fund, and I am the first to say, did you file a bill? I filed a bill to take care of it for this current biennium. There has not been a bill filed, and cannot now because the deadline is over as far as filing legislation, unless it's tacked on to a piece of legislation as an amendment. But there is no bill filed to use any additional money out of the rainy day fund for the next biennium.
Is that because no one thinks that they can actually make any progress with getting the rainy day funds, or is it just politics? They're saying rainy day fund, and maybe their constituents will hear that in the next voting cycle.
I don't know but I've heard that we need to use the rainy day fund, but I also know that there's no legislation to use it.
What are you hearing from constituents? I mean, yours in your district and maybe across the state as well.
Well, I hear a lot of, I know that our bill is short on at least 4 major areas, and we have got to fix the nursing home problem. And I have talked to my local people, my local nursing homes. I've talked to industry groups about nursing homes. We're going to do something to help fix the nursing home problem. One of the big things that I think is that number one is the state should try to help our young people go to college. And under the bill that was passed out of the House Bill 1, it does not have any additional Texas grants or financial aid for college-ready students. And we've got to fix that. And I know we're going to. And our public schools, we started out saying that the shortfall per student was about $1,000. We're down to about $800, $750, $800. My aim is to get it down to $500, shortfall per child, which is a half of what it was when we started out. When I laid the bill out on the House floor this spring in February, that's what it was. And so I'm not going to say it's perfect. Whatever bill we come out is not going to be perfect. We have a shortfall on the bill that passed out of the House of our Medicaid caseload, and we've got to do something about that, or we'll be coming in next session with a huge shortfall. And so we've got to fix at least those 4 areas, and I think we will.
You said you've talked to industry leaders and said that you aim to fix things with Medicaid and nursing homes. How do you see us helping nursing homes?
Well, we've got, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. No, we've got several ideas that we're floating around with the industry, and I think that we will come up with a solution.
Nothing specific you can tell us right now?
No, we're working, we're negotiating, and I know the nursing home industry really wants to help us find a solution, and we will find a solution.
What about school districts? Same question.
Well, you know, I've talked to a lot of superintendents in my district, and when I tell them that, you know, we did a deferral, which is, you know, $1.8 billion, it's going to be additional. We put $2 billion that was freed up because we used the rainy day fund for the current biennium, which freed up money that we had to save for the current biennium. So we freed up $2 billion that we gave to the schools. We're going to use the federal money, that the Doggett Amendment freed up money of $830. So, you know, that's, my math is right. You know, we're going to put in over $5 billion additional dollars, including the money that was freed up from the introduced bill. I'm not going to tell you that schools are going to be perfect and have adequate funding, but I think they'll have adequate funding, but I don't think that they're going to probably have funding where it was the last biennium.
Some people say that one way to look at it is with the state cuts to education. It's not really, you know, so much as the state level, but we're shifting the tax responsibility onto those local school districts.
You know, I've had a long visit today with one of the superintendents in my district, and I told him about some of the things we were going to do, and he just said, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we can do this without firing a teacher. He said, I have terminated 9 school employees, none of them teachers, and he said, I think that's all we're going to have to do. Frankly, this is a small school district, but he said, you know, we think we can weather this storm. We realize there'll be a better day in Texas economically, and we think you know, we'll do better later, but they're okay. The ones in my district have said that.
When you're talking about, you know, specific districts and everything, even beyond education, it seems like there's been a lot of bills that have been on the local consent calendar, maybe not on the bigger picture. Is that what you're seeing?
I'm not exactly sure what you're...
It seems like we're having a lot of bills that maybe only affect specific districts instead of statewide plans.
Well, you know, of course, I always say school districts are local. You know, there's nothing more local than your individual school districts, and I think everybody's trying to take care of their school district. And but I think as a whole, we're going to take care of the 1,000+ school districts at the end of the day.
Do you think constituents across Texas have their desires changed since this session began?
Oh, I think that, you know, the constituents that I hear from and what I hear from all over Texas is that we need to shrink government. We need to pay for our government on the available revenue that we have. And I think bottom line is when we get out of this regular session, and hopefully we won't have to go into special sessions, we will be able to, the people, Texans will look at our budget, will look at this session and say that's exactly what we wanted.
Do you feel like you, being in the leadership role that you are, have you been getting extra flack from people?
Oh, you know, I hear some flack, but I also hear people say, we know you're working hard to try to solve our problem. And people that know me know that, you know, I don't get any joy on trying to cut people, cut funding for the libraries and cut funding for our schools. I was on the school board for 14 years. They know where my heart is, that I'm trying to help them, but I know our limitations. I know that just like in my household, when I don't have as much income to spend, I don't go out and buy a new car. They know that that's the reality of it, and that's the way I live. And so I think they understand.